And I think we're live, possibly, maybe. Are we live? No, we're in the silence here. Silence. I think we're live. I don't know. We'll figure it out later on. We'll figure it out. But we are watching this glorious thing. Let me go ahead and send out a tweet. Yay. Tweets. Good stuff. I don't know if it's actually working, but we'll figure it out. Let me view this on YouTube to make sure it's actually working, because I don't stream on YouTube, so I have no idea what I'm doing here. I just realized I had the wrong settings for the description on there. Don't worry about it. Garbage company, trash game. Great response there. Great comment. Great comment. Solid. Oh man, it's really quiet. We have 60 seconds before we start, so I was thinking about putting in some music. Wow, lighting and sound really impressive. Alec, I don't know if you're joking. Like at first that's why I thought you were initially joking. If you don't realize how important lighting and sound is in games, you should probably just leave. You should probably just go. Cause yeah. And not have anything better to do. I know. It's amazing. Feel free to stay here though, Alec, and you can pump up my terrible numbers on YouTube streaming. You know, feel free to stay here though, and keep chatting in the chat. Helps the algorithm with everything. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's starting. Begin shortly. Come on. It's really weird. It's kind of quiet right now. It's kind of quiet. I felt like playing music, but it said it's going to start at 1, so I didn't want to play any music. Should I play some music? You know, just as like a thing on here? Like we could play some Halo Infinite music. You know? So we're not just sitting in silence the whole time. And I'll stop it once it starts showing up. Oh, now it's starting. Oh, it's doing this thing. Nope, we're not gonna listen to that music. We'll listen to Halo music. That's better. Is it playing Halo music right now? Y'all, I don't think y'all can hear it. Let me real quick. Okay, there we go. I got it on. I got it on, everyone. I'm smart. I'm smart. All right. We are ready, everyone. We are ready. We're going to be watching. We're going to have fun. I am so excited, though, to be watching this. I am so excited for this, though. Anything Forge related, I'm like, this is nice. This is nice. Forge does, yeah. No, it's pretty amazing. I'll go ahead and type something in the chat. Hype. All right. Oh, puts energy back into Infinite. Well, one of the biggest issues people always talk about is the lack of content in Infinite. Like, you know, like maps and just things to do in the game. Forge resolves that, you know, for the most part. Of course, you still want dev-made maps because, you know, it's nice having dev-made maps. But it's one of those things, though, where Forge resolves a lot of the boredom issues that you can have in, you know, a Halo game. So it's definitely interesting. Just watching some stuff. 2 minutes and 30 seconds left. Halo custom games? Yeah, seriously. That's basically where I have, like, enjoyed Halo the most, is custom games. You know, it's so much fun because the weird things. Of course, I love race, so that makes sense that, you know, I'll mention race, but, you know, like all the ridiculous custom games, like you get to have, like you get to play the game in ways that it's not originally intended to be played. And so that way you know, it's a lot more fun. You get some more excitement out of the game because you can play things like Duck Hunt, you know, or Trash Compactor or Avalanche, or like in, what was it, Reach, the grab and hold thing, Snipe-A-Mole, and then, you know, Race and Rocket Race and everything like that. Like, you get to do so much stuff with that. Like, and that's something that, oh, Mongoose Sumo, man, that's such a good game. Mongoose Sumo is amazing. In basketball, in Halo 2 Anniversary, basketball, that's probably one of my favorite ones. Infection. All right. So we're about to, I'll go ahead and wait a second until it gets down to the full countdown thing here, before I pause the music. And then we go ahead and get into this stuff right here. And then full screen. Let's do this. All right, we're gonna go ahead and pause the music and get this back in here. Do YouTube's music now, because YouTube's music, that's what we are excited for.
Hey everyone, it's Unyshek.
It's Unyshek.
Welcome to our latest Forge video. We're going to be breaking down lighting and audio with some members of the Halo Infinite team.
I need to turn it up, tell me.
I'm joined by Michael
turn it down.
and Tyler. How's it going, guys?
Michael and Tyler.
It's going good, thanks.
You guys mind introducing yourselves?
More of the Forge Lord.
Seen the previous video, Michael and Tyler, since you're new here.
Sure. I'm Michael Shore. I'm the Forge lead designer.
I'm Tyler Fedler. I'm one of the lighting artists and multiplayer in Forge.
And you've been working on some really cool stuff for us that we're going to take a look at today. Yeah,
we sure are. We're looking at beauty corners.
Yeah. So before we dive in on lighting, though, I was curious, what kind of improvements did we want to take with lighting and, I guess, audio too, in Halo Infinite's Forge?
Anything better than Halo 5's?
Got all the new stuff from Slipspace. So we have physics-based or physically based rendering system. It's all completely different. We went from a light map type system to that PBR system. In addition, with the audio, which we'll talk about later, it's like a voxelized system, and which we can talk about it later. But yeah, it's a whole new lighting system the way it works. So,
and like we did last time, let's not talk about it. Let's show it.
Yeah.
Tyler, you've been working on some really cool stuff, and I was kind of curious, what inspired you to build this beautiful environment that we see right now?
Well, I was playing the campaign during this time while we were going throughout Forge, and I'm like, this is really cool. I want to kind of take a stab at this as well. And It's kind of like
Krusty,
my own interpretation of like
this is
what
the first
campaign
one.
stuff could be. You know, big Forerunner stuff, mountains, trees, all that you need.
Yeah, so you kind of went campaign.
I'll
your
explain it
specialty
after
in
the
lighting,
video,
Mhm.
Krusty.
and your love for Forge, and you kind of
Man,
combined it all. To
look at
make
all the
this.
grass.
Yeah, exactly. Like one of the first
You put
things
that
I
much
would
grass
do
in
is,
Halo
like,
5, it
I
would
go throughout
blow
the
up your
map, make a
system.
block out and everything, and then afterwards I would start like adjusting the sun, which we can do that really quickly here.
Yeah, let's take a look.
So we go over to this setting called sunlight, and we go to the sun direction. We'll look at the pitch. So we can adjust the sun, and you can see as the
Yeah.
sun's going up in the air, you can see our shadows getting much like, shorter. It's going up to being like a noontime right now, all the way up in the sky. And then as you bring it down, you'll start to see like your shadows get longer and longer, all the way to the sunset, which I think is really cool.
Oh, that looks so cool.
Glorious.
So, adjustable time of day.
Exactly, adjustable time of day.
I love how the skybox responds
Excellent,
to where
Krusty.
the
Excellent.
the sun's at.
Yeah, that's actually a really cool thing that we brought in. So, like you just said, like the sun reacts, or the sky reacts like where the sun's going to be. So if it's really low in the ground or like to the horizon, you're going to see like this nice gradient going from like the orange all the way to the bluish
looks
black
beautiful.
sky. And I think it's really cool to see. But we also have more control of that as well. If we go into like the sky rendering tabs that we have, this is how you adjust like your sky to be whatever color you want. A new feature that we added into Halo Infinite. So right now we have like a very bluish sky. And what if we want to make it like green or something? Well, now we can have a green sky. We can adjust the intensity as well, so it's more of a vibrant color. Really cool stuff. Or maybe you want to make it yellow, or I don't know, this pinkish color. You can do anything
Yeah.
you want. But nothing ever beats a pink sun. So why don't we go ahead and make that? That's what I want to see. Perfect. That's perfection in the map right there, I think.
Yeah,
That's great.
just like campaign.
Oh, yeah, perfect. It's just like campaign.
In addition to some incredible skybox controls, we also have some volumetric fog. Correct?
Yeah, we do have volumetric fog. I don't use it very much in this map, but why don't we demonstrate it really quickly by just placing a light. So we'll go into the light section, place down a generic light, and we have a light that's kind of brightening up the environment. We'll go into map settings. All the way down the fog area, you'll see this volumetric setting called Enable. Set that on, and now you can see your lights are casting this type of fog. Really cool and very powerful. This is how you get very like moody environments.
Very cool. And as part of this, we've got.
I
you-
like
you dropped
moody
the light in.
environments.
Is there anything else we can do with that light that you'd want to show us?
Well, I'd love to show off how we do our shadow system. I think that's a really big update from H5 coming into Halo Infinite. So why don't we just make it a spotlight really quick?
$4
We'll bring
the
it
other
over
day.
to this
Krusty.
truck.
Amazing.
We'll angle it over so we're kind of like casting on top of it. And we can see, you're having your light kind of leaking through. You're not seeing any shadows coming from this tire. But if we go into that light, set it to cast shadows on,
I appreciate it,
there's your
Krusty.
shadow right away, which is really cool because in H5, what you would do to generate out your shadows, you would have to bake out lighting. You don't have to do that anymore. With shadow work, all you gotta do is just set it on and off. You're golden. Got everything you need.
That's incredible.
My youngest,
the improvement
he
there from game to
just
game.
turned 5.
Yeah,
So he
another
just
really
turned
cool
5.
thing about the shadow system is, well, why don't we explain
And
what
my
a static
oldest,
shadow is
Aiden,
gonna
is
be?
about to
Sure,
turn
static
10
shadows would
in
be
November.
Like walls, floors, anything in the environment that's not going to be moving.
Mm.
And then you have another setting called dynamic. Now, dynamic is going to be like vehicles, your character, or what we're going to showcase right now, your monitor. So I'm going to go in front of this light, and you can see we're not really casting a shadow over a monitor right now. But if we quickly set on dynamic shadows, well, now
Ooh.
we do. We have
Spooky
a character.
monitor.
Now we can see our character cast shadows and everything from this light. Oop, and if we turn it back off and go in front of it, right away you're going to see it just go away.
That's so
Super
great.
awesome to see. I'm very
Dynamic
glad that we got
shadows
this
and everything. That's so awesome.
You put
Infection
your
maps.
Spartan in the
They're going to be
light there.
spooky.
Mhm.
Characters are also lit differently compared to Halo 5, correct?
Yeah, they are. So Halo 5,
Yeah, they
you
actually
would have
have
kind
shadows.
of an issue where if it was really dark out, you would see your characters be very bright. We could
Yes.
fix that now. And I think a perfect way of showcasing that is, well, why don't we make the map pitch black?
Yeah, let's take a look.
Yeah, really simple to do. All you gotta do is just set everything off. Turn everything off. You don't need it.
And Michael, making a map really, really dark was a feature request, right?
Oh, absolutely.
It's a giant
Yes.
step up from
Yeah,
Halo
I've
5.
I've
yeah?
seen many forum posts and tweets about trying to not have that I think it was rim lighting on the character.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what we'll do to turn it like pitch black is first we set our sun like intensity down to 0. And now we're going to go back to our bounce lighting, which we'll talk about a little bit later, and we'll set that to be 0 as well. Now,
Yeah, people can
our
still
sky right now,
use
our
the leaked
ground is
version.
pretty dark right now, but we're still not getting there to pitch black. What if we set our sky tint to 0? So all the way up in the sky, you have like no color, and then our sun is as well. Now there's an issue here. We have this kind of like shiny reflectivity kind of going on in the background, more of this
Yeah.
orange
Yep.
hue.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We can go into the build menu and we can adjust something called the reflection volume. This is very similar to like what we had in H5, which was default cube maps. Default cube maps are just think of it as like taking a picture in an area and then slapping it on objects and saying that's your
We lit?
reflection you're going to use.
Mm.
When you now it's using the previous cube map that we had before. When we generate it now, it's going to pick up everything else, and now everything else is pitch black. The only things
Nice.
that we have here in the environment now are fog placements that I placed beforehand and lights that I have right here. And you can also see the shadow casting from this
Man,
shot
it's
right
so
now, too.
great.
Really crisp and nice
Like,
to see.
Yeah.
In Halo 5,
So
everything
why don't we
glowed.
demonstrate how our characters react? We'll go into cam mode. We're in here in the environment, or in here in the light. And we can kind of see him popping out, and that's good. Normal.
Mm-hmm.
Looking pretty good.
Looking great.
We'll go back. We'll go out of the light, so we're in like pitch black. Go back to cam mode, and we can see our Spartan is actually pitch black right now. There's
Yeah.
no indirect lighting to kind of
It's
like
so great.
pop him out.
Remember
not
Halo
in the light
5,
at
like
all.
your
The
Spartan
only thing you see is
glowed
his
and
cool
everything?
effects are right
Oh,
now.
that was
I was
the
gonna say
worst.
he's got the mouth like
Yeah.
breathing effect.
That's how
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know he's still
Right.
alive. He's breathing.
That's actually terrifying if you set that up in like a custom game.
Yeah, super cool. I'm really glad that we're able to do this type of stuff. It's gonna make really cool like
Yeah.
horror type maps.
And then you mentioned some VFX. We can change some colors.
Pressy,
of
it was
some lighting VFX.
it was fine
Yeah, all the VFX
that the leak
in the game are
happened, like
authored so
about the
you
excitement
can,
in the
change
community, but it
color.
also
Ah,
kind of
nice.
sucked because
so
it
you can make them
it
fit
kind of ruined
whatever
the
sort
initial
of theme you have
reveal,
going.
of being able to
Maybe you wanna
show
use fire
what
effects,
people can
but
do.
You want
So
them to be blue.
it's a little
because
bit
of
of mixed
methane or
bag.
something like that.
Like
I
it's
don't know.
awesome
Get a
because the
ni-
community
yeah,
got
nice
hyped
covenant
and everything.
Plasma,
Yeah,
fire. Yeah.
Exactly.
But at the
So
same
just
time, it
lots of
also,
flexibility there, and
You
some
know,
of these
it
effects
sucks
have
that they don't have the
multiple,
like
emitters in
special
them, and
reveal,
you can change the color
know.
of each emitter as you're seeing
Wow.
what Tyler's doing.
Like
So
imagine
lots
this
of
reveal
flexibility here,
without
lots of
knowing
power to
any
do
of the
what you wanna
leaked
do.
stuff.
It's really fun
Like
to do.
imagine the
Very
hype around
customizable
these
your effects now.
reveals
Yeah.
and stuff.
And then next, I know we wanted to talk about some light probes,
Yeah.
I believe.
So
This
it's
can
like
get pretty
a
complex,
it's a,
but let's try to run
eh.
So I think the very
On
first
there.
thing that we'll need to do is let's fly over here to this ring section. And we're going to turn on a debug mode that we have. Oop, we'll go here. And it's called display light probes. Now you can kind of see
Light
like these
probes.
little spheres that are around the map. Now they're pitch black right now because we made the map pitch black. That makes sense. Let's go up and start turning this stuff on. We have two different settings here. We have light bounce, and light bounce is going to be lighting influence from lights that you've placed on the map as well as your sun. And if we start cranking this guy up really quick, we can start see they're getting much brighter.
Mm.
And that's perfect. That's exactly what we want. This section where lighting is, it's a little exaggerated because I cranked it, but we can see there's light influence. And if we go back here, it's getting dimmer and
This
dimmer.
is just-
You're going to have less
like,
influence of that light.
Yeah.
It's just amazing
But
compared
skylighting
to
will
what
help cover that.
we
This will
had
be
in
like
Halo
an
5.
exterior ambient color that you'll have in your map. So if you turn it on, now you can see throughout the entire world you're getting this ambient hue, which is awesome to see. But the only issue with sky probes, not really an issue, but it needs to see the sky in order to work. So if you were to make a cave system and you had skylight in there and enough probes, you're not really going to see skylight influence, only the light bounce. And
Gotcha.
that's just because you're not seeing the sky.
Mhm.
So really cool that you can add in.
And this pretty
Mhm,
much shows
mhm.
how light is being cast throughout the map.
Yeah, like a cool ambient tone, how we go from like pitch black to having like some cool ambient tones. Now, moving on from that, we can also see how dense these probes are.
Yeah.
You could not see this stuff in H5, and so we add this feature so you can increase your density, and the more probes you have, the better, more accurate your lighting is going to be. But it's also going to increase the amount of times that you have to, like the time that you have to generate as well.
Mhm.
So always be aware of that.
naturally.
And why don't we
Makes
demonstrate
sense.
it really quick? Not the generating, but like how do you get these types of like probes? You go into the map options. Down here at the bottom, you have something called level bound probes. And we have this first setting called objects. Objects means for level bound probes, you as a forger place down objects, and then it automatically scales a volume and says, I want there to be indirect lighting in this area. Automatically done for you. It's really quick and simple. And then we
This
have
is really
another one
nice.
called level. Level would make a volume that goes from these diamond boundaries. Each one of them, it'll create like a giant rectangle.
Covers
And
the
it-
whole canvas.
The whole
Yep.
canvas. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And that way the pros would generate in that area. So they're more sparsed out. They're not as accurate as like, a small section like this.
That would only be great
but
for like
they give
a
you a
massive.
good ambient, term everywhere. And then down here at the bottom we have probe spacing. Probe spacing is just how close together these probes are. Right now we're at like 600,000 or whatever. I can't see that number, but it's really high. You can't go past 14,000. If you tried, it will say no, you can't do that.
Yeah.
So go back to object, and right here we can see that like we're under that limit, so it's good to burn.
Nice.
Yeah,
So
the
you-
game will stop you
Yeah,
from
it will stop.
really going crazy in that
Yep.
regard.
But 14,000 probes, I think, gives you really awesome results. So you can get some really cool things.
yeah, it was looking amazing, right?
Yeah,
Um,
before we're destroying the map.
yeah, before you started taking it apart piece by piece.
That's great.
Um, One thing, in addition to that, you did say you could change colors to allow you to see the environment lighting a little bit better.
Yeah. So if we go up for like the indirect lighting, you mean, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So down here, or up here, I should say, we have sky lighting, and we kind of see we have this like orange tint to it. We can adjust this to be whatever color we want. I think this is really awesome to have. Kind of gives you an idea of how you want your, at least
Mhm.
for an exterior, how you want your level to kind of come together.
Mm.
And I think this is powerful enough that it helps you. You don't
Yeah, that
necessarily
is
have
gonna
to
be very
generate your lighting
useful.
all the time. If you're working very early on and you're like, I want to see how my level looks with like this.
Sorry,
bright
I'm blocking.
Yellow. And you'll be
By
like,
the way,
all right, I'll
y'all
turn
want to
on
see his face?
sky
See?
lighting. I'll mess
there.
with the indirect of how intense it is, and I'm like, all right, now I got a cool ambient tone. Very important. to
I'd
nail
rather
that down.
block his face
And then
than
as
block.
you continue to work, you
I
can,
guess
like,
what I could
add
do
more
is
probes in and get more accurate lighting with your results, like a light bounce. So it'll start picking up more of like this
I
color.
guess
if
I
they add
could
that.
lower
Ah,
it down
mhm.
here. Since there's nothing
And
really
now
going
to-
on
to
down
keep
here.
us moving. I know you had light and shadow heat maps you wanted to show us too.
Oh, this is probably one of my favorite features actually. So we'll turn off probes really quick,
There we go.
and
And-
we'll use this light that we have for the truck. I'll duplicate this a few
I don't want to
times,
block
move
anything
around,
that they're going to be messing with, so I may just turn it
and
off. I
will
don't know.
set one of them to not cast a shadow, just really quickly.
And
No
this
shadow
was
feed.
a pretty popular request we're about to show off, right? Super valuable to our power like Forge users, right?
This is definitely like
Yeah.
what we inherited from Slipspace. Like this is helping you control your light overlap and your shadow overlap to
Mhm.
help better control performance.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It was always a big concern in Halo 5. People make out these maps, they look awesome, but then you get to the performance stage and you're like, man, the first thing people always delete was lighting. And
Mm.
we're like, well, how can we help, help that
Yeah,
a little bit so people
that's
don't
true.
do that and have cool looking
Because
maps.
it destroys
You can have
performance.
this overlapping area here. So you go into debug, in the tool settings, you have this thing called shadow overlap and light overlap. Light overlap is going to be, these lights are not casting shadows, but you can start to see like the more brighter color this gets, all the way to this beige, the more expensive these lights are going to be.
It's a full-on heat map. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's really
Oof,
big,
yeah.
very nice to have, and it's the exact same with shadows. Because shadows are gonna be a little
That's
bit more
really
expensive than
useful.
normal lights, and whenever you can see that difference, like you can see here, we're only casting like 2 shadow lights, when here we're just casting like 8 of them, or 9. So really helpful to have.
And then I think the last thing we wanted to touch on this map was
Mhm,
reflection
mhm.
volumes.
Reflection volumes, yes,
Yeah.
we mentioned this a little bit earlier.
Yeah,
about
yeah.
the
You
deflection
alluded to it, yeah.
values. But there's something in the map that hasn't really been adjusted when we were messing around with our indirect lighting. So let's crank up our indirect lighting. And you may have noticed like we're getting these black hexes in the background. And this is because these are fully metal objects. Fully metal objects are not really going to take in diffuse lighting like we are with the indirect. But it is going to take in nice specular information. And that's what the reflection volumes are for. So we have this like chrome ball that's right here. We can see it's picking up the sky, but overall it's pretty much black. Let's go ahead and just generate this. Reflection probes, build selected, and now we can see we're getting a nice tone on these hexes now. They're not pitch black anymore. And we
Mhm.
go up to the actual chrome ball, we can see that it's actually taking a picture, and it's doing that exact thing of just slapping that picture on top of these objects. There's your reflection.
So that
So
reflection
good.
volume orb like takes a 360-degree picture and then allows it to project that as a reflection on like nearby objects.
Yeah, it's super useful to have. If you think about how we use this in like campaign, we use this all the time in campaign for like dungeons, the Forerunner dungeons, plastered everywhere at the cube maps. That's how you get an ambient tone. So if you ever use anything that's more metal, always use the reflection volumes. You're going to get some really cool looking stuff with that.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice. And
Good stuff.
I think that wraps us up on this beauty corner that you
Lighting
got to
so
work on.
beautiful.
Yes,
and we wanted to take a look at a map some community members were working on in our Forge Council flight. So if we want to jump on in there, we can absolutely start flying around and,
Yay,
and take
community
a look.
member
Just how you wanna
stuff.
drive there.
right now.
We've got we're in the shadows here in a very dark map, and we've got a warthog,
Looking
a truck.
Good,
What are we
looking
looking at?
good.
So, Nitro and Mythical Fritz been working on this map. They want to make a really dark map, which I think is awesome to see. And I think they're doing a really cool job. It's still a work in progress they're working on. But why don't we just take a look at like some things they've been working on with lighting? We're
Yeah.
getting flickering lights. We're in a cave section. They're getting a little campfire over here as well. The nice
Yeah.
effects and the orange lighting. Like this is really cool. I love how it's coming out. And then if you start looking up,
Yeah,
in
this
the
is gonna be
trees, you'll start
spoopy.
to see they're getting a little bit of this moonshine and nice like rays coming through.
Oh yeah, yeah.
These rays are coming from light cones. Light cones are also making an appearance from H5 again, which gives you a really cool depth to your
Spoopy
atmosphere
map.
and just helps. Oh, helps
looking
so much.
so
we use
good.
it all over the place in MP and campaign.
Mhm.
And another really thing they added was adding in like the moon. The moon's really cool and very creative how they did it. They just made a primitive sphere, made it white, and then used the grunge, kind of like we showed off a little bit earlier, but it's really cool.
And they
Very
brightened it up
convincing
so
moon.
it looks like a real moon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Looks
the
just like
scratch and
the moon.
grind
Yeah.
settings.
Yep,
they
scratch
I
and
actually
remember
grind.
use
trying to
that
make a
look-
moon
to give
in
it
Halo 5 for
the
one of my
moon-like
maps.
texture.
It's
Didn't look
really
as good
cool.
as that.
Yeah, this is just a map they're working on. I love seeing the light cone work and all the depth they're adding in. The volumetric fog, if you turn it off, you'll see like, wow, it loses a lot of its mood and atmosphere. And like, it's really cool. I'm very happy to see these guys continue messing with the lighting system.
That is awesome. And now we wanted to touch on audio a little bit.
Yeah, we said we were going to talk about this later. and Here we are. So we got a bunch of cool stuff in terms of lighting or audio in maps. One of the biggest things I heard about audio was that players could never turn off the audio in a map. Whatever the audio was in the map, you were stuck with. Well,
Yes.
Now you can turn off audio. You can go into your ambient sounds in the map options, and you can, I can believe you set this to default, which will be no sound at all. And the primary sound is really as it sounds. It's the main sound that you'll hear when you're in the map. A secondary sound is just an additive to that. The audio team calls it a sweetener sound. So, you know, you can combine. You know, you could have a banished room with rain if you wanted to, or silly stuff. So you can, lots of power here to kind of choose the sound ambience.
So
that you
good.
want,
I heard you
right?
could also choose like battlefields, in like distant battle.
Yes,
as
like
a-
distant city, busy,
okay.
distant city, quiet, generator room, shipwreckage, scorched earth.
Oh,
Like
wow.
there's a lot of options here. You make it sound like it's underwater.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know what it sounds like. Maybe bubbles and the gurgling water. I
Yeah,
don't
So
know.
good.
So lots of options here to really make an experience that you want to, you know, that's in your head, right? We've also got the ability to change the reverb of whatever environment you're trying to make. So it can be a very reverb is basically the echo of sounds in
Yes.
an environment, and so you can change basically how much reverb you get in any particular map. So it can be wide open, which would not be a lot of reverb, almost very little, to like interior, you know, large, like maybe that sounds more like a cathedral, where lots of echo, right? So super powerful in that regard. And then
the
also
audio effects,
the
yeah.
audio effects. You can this helium will pitch up all the sounds in the map,
Great.
and space. What does space do?
Space makes it sound like outer space.
It makes it, yeah.
Yeah. So if you
of
wanted
course
to,
it does.
we've had a few people remaking campaign missions in our Forge videos here. You could use this and make it sound like Halo 4 and Halo 2 had some outer space, right? You're just outside the ship,
So hype.
and you get that kind of nice space
Nice.
sound effect. You can
Yeah.
kind of, I think it's Cairo Station in Halo 2 and a couple maps in Halo 4. Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Mhm.
also like you can preview these while you're in edit mode, but if you don't want to do that, you can toggle those off, and then when you go into play mode, you'll be
So
able
nice.
to hear the sounds that you've done. And
So
similar
good that
to
you can
how
edit
we've
that.
been talking about the lighting being built, audio is also built. So when you can see here, we've got these audio emitters placed. Once you've placed all your audio and you've set your primary and secondary sounds and all that stuff, you can go and build audio data. And what that does is it basically makes it sound more accurate. So when audio is behind a wall, it's going to sound quieter because that's how it would be in real life.
Mhm.
Footsteps will sound quieter, et cetera, et cetera.
And that's
Awesome.
the obstruction being generated.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Nice. Very cool. And then we also have, like we see those emitters. You can script audio too, right?
You can. We'll go into NodeGraph really quickly. This really isn't about that,
Mhm.
but you can go into the Node browser and you can play audio for all players, play audio for opposing teams,
Mhm.
for a specific team. You can set an audio loop on a specific object. So lots of power there to not only place ambient sounds that run all the time, but also
That's
place,
amazing.
Scripted sounds that will start
You know,
to
to
play
set
and stop to
audio
play based
loop on a
events that
specific
happen.
object and everything like
That
that.
is
It's gonna be
very, very
huge
cool.
for
Yeah.
And I think
stuff.
that pretty much wraps up what we wanted to talk about today. Was there anything else you guys wanted to cover or say before we wrap up?
I think we're pretty good.
We're
I
gonna
am
move
very
it
excited
back
to see
up.
what everyone makes in the Forge levels. Everyone's been making already really cool stuff, especially with the lighting. And I want to see them use this stuff now. Just blow me out of the water. Like, what are you gonna make now?
Yeah, yeah.
It's really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah,
So
I
excited.
feel the same way. I'm, every time I listen to this guy talk, I learn something new about Forge, which is kind of amazing. So really appreciate that. But yeah, what I've seen so far.
I just
from
love the
runners
Forge
and
team.
everyone
They are
else
so
has just been
passionate
really insane.
about,
so I'm
the
looking forward
game.
to how crazy it's gonna get.
Yeah.
Make it
Me
as good
too.
as possible.
Well, I'm just going to say thank you so much for joining us. And thank you for joining us as we wrap up our third video here on Forge.
Mhm.
We will have another video coming out soon talking about asset and file management. So you can look forward to that.
Yay.
But thank you so much for watching, and we will see you all next time.
Bye. Excellent. Let's go ahead and
And-
pause that there and stuff. But yeah, I'm so excited about everything. I am so excited about all that. I'm not sure if Krusty, you're still here? Because I wanted to answer. I know you were asking some questions earlier, but I didn't want to talk too much over the video and everything. But he may not still be here. We may have talked about him, at another time and stuff. But yeah, lighting and everything is super important. Like, a lot of people don't realize if you have bad lighting, it makes your map look so much worse. That's the thing with Halo 5. There's so many maps in Halo 5 that visually actually look pretty good, but unfortunately Halo 5's lighting is just not very good, and so it really limits and it causes a lot of issues off of at least the visual aspect of a map. Like one thing that they explain in here is just your character glowing, in Halo 5. Like, that type of stuff, it's terrible. Whenever you're over there trying to play an infection map or just trying to play a map set in a dark space, you see your Spartan glowing in the middle of the, room and stuff, and it's like, it defeats the purpose. So it's awesome that Infinite has, really good lighting, and especially everything that the team has done to make lighting, a high priority for Forge maps. Because, if you have a really good lighting setup for your map, you can definitely make your maps look a lot, visually better, a lot more eye pleasing and everything. And that's exactly what, Forgers want. We want to be able to make our maps look as close to dev maps as possible, and lighting is crucial for that type of stuff. And of course, the audio things, like I said, being able to connect audio to objects, or even audio bounces. Like, if it's behind a wall, it'll be quieter, like what they were mentioning. I love that in Infinite. It's like that. That's fantastic. So, that'll be it for me for this. I just wanted to watch this video. Hope y'all enjoyed, And I'll see you on the next video. And remember, let's forge a new Halo. Bye.